The suspects involved in the killing and mutilation of two Soweto boys are expected to appear in court on Friday. Police made a quick breakthrough in the case, taking two suspects into custody on Tuesday night. One of the suspects is said to be a close relative of one of the boys. Meanwhile, the Traditional Healers Association will have another prayer service with the community. Our reporter Mangoba Mqunu is on that story and he joins me now for more. Investigations, Mangoba, are underway. The occult unit is now on board. Has there been some sort of indication whether this is occult-related or Muti-related?
Well, only at this particular stage, what we know is that, of course, that team of investigators is still looking at those issues in particular. We know that they've been roped in from day one when investigations into this murder had started. They're not working alone, but also there is a team of forensics as well as a task team that has been tasked to look at this issue. But when you speak to community members here, they'll tell you, Andy, that they firmly believe that the motive for these killings is Muti-related, given the fact that these bodies were found mutilated at the time, and when you look at the injuries on those bodies, there appear to be some similarities. When you look at some of the body parts that have been cut, we know, of course, that there were some in the face, there were some also on the private parts, and also as far as the limbs are concerned, we understand that some of them had been missing, and also understand that this involved also the cutting of, if I can get graphic, the tongue of one of the boys. So it tells you that, there was a purpose to these, killings. It was just not an ordinary killing that had happened, or a murder that had happened here. And the fact that these boys were related and they were found in separate areas here, they believe firmly that this is the work of somebody who has been targeting children, but not only targeting children, but who's using Muti or who's using ritualistic killings to try and fulfill whatever purpose that they want to fulfill. And of course, we know that a close relative has been arrested for this crime, and when you talk to community members, they'll tell you that there have been suspicions that this particular family member is using ritualistic killings or is involved in any way in some of the killings that have happened in this community. But of course, the police will not confirm at this particular stage whether or not they're investigating any other cases against this particular relative. But what we do know is that she was arrested alongside her partner, who's 39 years old, and they've both been charged with murder. And of course, earlier on, we also spoke to one of the occult experts who, we asked about whether this or not has anything to do with ritualistic killings. From what we know so far, are there any indications that this perhaps could be a ritualistic killing? And earlier on, the professor or the doctor that we spoke to saying only that by all means and purposes, it does look like this was part of some ritual that was carried out. But of course, that will form part of that crucial investigation by the occult unit. But take a listen to what Dr. Matebula had to say earlier on about this.
Most cases which are occult related, they cut either hands, either private parts, or either food. So those are the things, those who are in these cases are trained on how to investigate occult cases. So they'll know exactly, especially because the boys are two. And from both of them, similar parts have been removed. That on its own is an indication that this is an occult related case. So there I have no doubt that this is an occult-related case.
Mangoba, another prayer being held this afternoon as the families are still trying to make sense of it all. A relative being nabbed for the murder, we understand a close relative. Do we know the relation to the young boys, a parent, an aunt, a cousin? And how is the family processing all this?
Well, Andy, what we have been told is that this is a close relative of one of these boys. At this particular point, Andy, we cannot say further because this suspect has not appeared in court, but it is somebody that was very close to the family, we understand, And in fact, this was one of the people that, was there on the crime scene when the two boys were found. This was somebody that, had been quite vocal as well about the murders, how, devastated they were as a family. And of course, what we know at this stage is that the boy had been living with this particular relative at the time after the passing of, the mother of this child, and she had been the guardian, the legal guardian, so to speak, of this child. And also, we understand, Andy, that this particular relative had been questioned by police. There were suspicions, when these two boys had gone missing. And apparently, from what we're hearing, Andy, from sources close to the family, we understand that, according to what has been revealed so far, is that there were some items that were found in possession of this particular relative, and these are clothing items that had blood stains on them. We understand that this relative had taken those items and had thrown this plastic at the neighbors, over the neighbor's fence. And later on, she had been looking for this plastic, and this is when the neighbor had then alerted the community patrollers. And when the team of police had arrived on the scene and they had combed the area, they also managed to, find this plastic bag. But before they did that, community members, of course, had, we understand, opened this particular bag to find those clothing that belonged to this relative that had blood stains on them. We understand that the K9 unit had also gone to the house. They had also searched that house, and these are some of the clues and some of the evidence that they've been able to collect that they believe links this particular family members to the crime that has happened. Of course, it has torn the family apart. There are tensions within the family, and earlier on we did see some scuffles ensuing between the family members at this particular stage, as the family members are trying to make sense of all of this and trying to find answers really as to how one of their own could do such a heinous crime. And of course, I guess many of the answers we'll find when this matter does ultimately go to court. We're expecting that the matter is going to court tomorrow. The two suspects are going to appear in court tomorrow. But of course, the family is still quite shocked and is still trying to make sense of it all. And earlier on, I spoke to one of the family members about this, and this is what they had to say.
At the current moment, as a family, we are shocked that someone within the family, because these two boys were related, it's a suspect. They were taken to police station for questioning and everything. As you can see in TV, there are people abatholakele. So as a family,
Thank you very much, Mankoba Mkunu, for bringing us an update on that story.